Support for Jalen and Jacoby comes from Blue Apron. Blue Apron delivers farm-fresh, perfectly portioned ingredients and step-by-step recipes so you can make incredible meals at home. Rediscover how fun cooking can be while reducing food waste and supporting sustainable farms and fisheries. Visit blueapron.com/Jalen to get your first 3 meals, a $30 value, free with free shipping.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
What up, dude?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool jacket.
Are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do we do?
We get the people.
Yes.
What
Yes.
they want.
Yes. The playoffs are here. And everyone showed up except for Drake and Kyle Lowry. The Raptors went down to the Bucks. What did you think about the Bucks led by Giannis Antetokounmpo?
It's one of those things, while the Raptors were the higher seeded team, and I think they still have what it takes to win this series, because everyone overreacts after each playoff game, but I still think their depth is going to win out in this series. The thing that stood out to me in Game 1 is Giannis Antetokounmpo is the second best player in the entire conference, and he was the reason that they won. Simple as that. That's what happens when you have the best player in a series that can score in multiple facets, that can guard multiple positions. He was the dominant force that led the Milwaukee Bucks winning in Game 1.
For those that listen to Jalen Jacoby, this isn't new news about Giannis Antetokounmpo. But for those that are just casual fans, watch the national games, for those that just aren't paying attention to Milwaukee late at night and just seeing the headlines, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to show everyone in this series exactly not just what he is, but what he is about to turn into. Dunking on everybody, blocking shots, playing defense on bigs, playing defense on Lowry and DeRozan. It was an extremely important performance. But seriously, where was Drake and where was Kyle Lowry?
Kyle Lowry in particular has got to find a way to show up for Game 2. Yeah. Drake's the ambassador of the team. He's not on the roster. He gets a chance to pick and choose when he comes to basketball games. Kyle Lowry does it, and they're really going to need him in Game 2. But again, you can't overlook the fact that the Greek Freak was top 20 in the league, the first guy to ever do so in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. It has never happened before. So when you get that guy out on the floor, he can be a dominant force. And he was that. And I think that literally was the reason why they won Game 1, other than the fact that Kyle Lowry, just like in last year's playoffs, especially early, wasn't able to get going. They're going to need him in Game 2.
It does. I'm just going to say it. It feels like Kyle Lowry has playoff yips. We all remember what happened last year. Like you said, he has trouble getting going in series. And then remember, he went back to the locker room. It just feels like he's got the yips. Is there any truth to that in your mind?
Well, I don't know what the yips are.
Okay, that's fair.
No.
Like anxiety, overthinking himself, nervousness, not living up to the moment under the pressure.
I do remember, however, the moment in Cleveland when he left the bench area and he went towards the lavatory and he said he needed to decompress during the game. Usually that's a number 2, but that's another subject for another day. I do remember him also later in the playoffs shooting jumpers late at night with the lights out in the arena trying to find his stroke. But before you know it, it did come back. He was a confident player as the playoffs progressed, but they're going to need it a lot faster in this series. I think he'll find a way to get going.
And then we have the number 1 seeded Celtics in the East that fought so hard to get to the number 1 seed so they could play the 8 seed, which is the Chicago Bulls. They're hosting the Bulls in Game 1, and they fall to the Bulls led by Jimmy Butler. Do you still think the Celtics will win this series?
It's going to be tough. I think I want to applaud Isaiah Thomas and send condolences to he and his family. I know he's playing with a heavy heart, and he will be having to deal with that scenario in the loss of his sister for a very long time, for the rest of his life. And it's unfortunate that he still not only was put in the middle of a grieving process, but our work doesn't stop when that happens, when things happen in our personal lives. I applaud him for getting out there on the court, competing with his teammates for the number 1 seeded Celtics. Now that the Bulls have a game, they're going to be a lot more confident. And what I saw in that series is 2 All-Stars, Jimmy Butler, Isaiah Thomas, basically playing background basketball. Anytime their teams needed a bucket, they were able to deliver. And I think Jimmy Butler in particular late was a big-time difference maker with his shot making. And so while the Celtics are trailing a game, I still think they're going to find a way to win this series. Look for players like Avery Bradley, Marcus Smart have to pick up their level of play. Al Horford as well. I do think the C's find a way to advance, but you got to give the Bulls a lot of credit for taking game one.
And you do. And then we look to John Wall, who must have heard you say that Giannis Antetokounmpo was the second best player in the East because he looked great against the Hawks, leading the Wizards to a convincing victory. What do you make of this matchup?
He's in the conversation, but he'll tell you this. He's not 7 foot. And that's probably the difference in those two players because they both do a lot of the same things out on the floor, competing on both ends. But when you talk about second player in the East, people are going to throw in Kyrie Irving, Isaiah Thomas, John Wall, Jimmy Butler, Paul George. And rightfully so. John Wall stepped up this year, took on a bigger leadership role, improved his jump shot, continues to attack the basket for himself, gets teammates involved. One of my favorite sequences in that game was back-to-back possessions where he hooked up with Morris for dunks. It was great to see his brother in the stands representing with his jersey on. That's why I was looking at Paul Millsap like, I don't know, man. You might not want those problems. His brother at the game wearing his jersey in the all-season flow.
You'll see the Morris brothers have a history of backing each other up in beef. Just Google that and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And Millsap and Morris kind of got tangled up at one point. And then there was this. Morris is on the line, and Millsap goes to the referee and says, look, he is on the line. And then Morris tells him to shut up. They kind of go at each other in a hold me back-ish kind of a moment. Telling the referee that your opponent is standing on the free throw line, soft move or boss move?
Have you ever asked for 3 seconds in a game?
Yes.
Boss move. Just trying to get the call.
I like it. I'm going soft move. Of all the things in the world. Like, come on. You know, of all the things to complain about to the referee. I mean, he got elbowed in the face and got tangled up and got a jump ball. And now he's like, look, he's standing on the line. His toenail is on the line. I can see it. Soft move. I'm not buying it.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
The best game from the weekend, in my opinion, was at Oracle Arena. The Blazers matching the Warriors blow for blow, 3 for 3, led by the backcourt of the Mama's boys, CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard. Do you think they have a chance in this series?
We talked about it over and over again. The two of the top backcourts going at it, Clay and Steph against CJ and Dame. We're going to put up big points, big numbers, do a lot of highlight, real plays. CJ McCollum was terrific, especially in the first half.
Hot.
Dame got going in the second half. Steph was consistent the entire game. Clay never truly got going. But here's the difference. The Golden State Warriors have Kevin Durant, who had 29 points, seemed unstoppable, didn't have to play a lot of minutes. And they also have Draymond Green.
Oh, I love Draymond.
It seemed like it was 2 of him out there. Points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, emotion, enthusiasm, passion. He, to me, has now become the rock of that basketball team. I know you can pick a lot of different parts they can or can't win without. He's an immovable object up front because without him in the lineup, Zaza Pachulia, James Michael McAdoo, David West, they can't necessarily make up for not only the production, but just the minutes that he can play on a consistent basis. So it was terrific to see him get going, not only from 3, but be dominant on the defensive side of the ball.
I love those blocks. And everyone says he's the emotional leader of the team. You know why they say that? Because he is. And when he gets those blocks, you can feel his confidence surging. He's screaming at the crowd and the energy in the arena getting louder and louder. It's so good. He also chirps back and forth with the opposing team. Here's Dame Lillard on Draymond Green's trash talk during the game.
The league has softened up a lot, and it's not like that. So you got to have a rough guy like him out there. I think it's necessary.
Has the league softened up a lot?
The league has softened up a lot, and not necessarily the blame of the players, but the rules have changed a lot, whether it's a flagrant foul, whether it's how you get technical fouls, celebratory calls like you saw the Greek freak who blocked the shot and showed emotion and got a technical foul. I agree with Dame in that aspect. But here's the thing that's unfortunate for the Portland Trail Blazers. They would still lose this series, but mark my words, it's going to look a lot different when Nurkic comes back.
I'm excited.
He's a terrific big guy that got a few triple-doubles, put up some astronomical stat lines, created some balance for a Portland team that, other than their backcourt, you really can't rely on the players that they went out and signed big contracts to in the offseason. I know Allen Crabbe was second in the league in three-point percentage, but they're going to need him to have a 15, 20-point game. Evan Turner as well. Myers Leonard, the 7-foot Justin Bieber. They're going to need those guys to actually create that level of balance, because when Nurkic is in there, he's able to do that. It's unfortunate that he's injured at this point, but I do anticipate he's going to come back during this series.
And then we have ISO Joe taking out the Clippers at the Staples Center. Is there more on the line for the Clippers than just this series? And you know what I mean.
Clippers, man, if Rudy Gobert was not possibly going to miss this entire series, they would be in trouble.
Do you still think they're favorites in this series?
They'll find a way to win this series.
They will.
Because of what I just mentioned. But however, it showed their vulnerability so much that you almost can start thinking about the ways to break down this roster, watching them lose to the Utah Jazz after losing their defensive ace 17 seconds into the basketball game, and watching Joe Johnson constantly school Blake Griffin, shoot over DeAndre Jordan. Unlike what we saw by the Indiana Pacers in game one of their series, if you notice something, when they got the rebound, they didn't call timeout.
No timeout.
And you know what else? When their best player, their all-star, Gordon Hayward, got denied, it was okay for the guy with the best matchup to actually go one-on-one and do what he do. And what happens? He broke down Jamal Crawford. He scored the game-winning shot. Now imagine had he missed that shot. Would it be cool for Gordon Hayward to go to the press conference and say,
No.
You know, I need that shot.
No, not with ISO Joe in his history, especially in last-second baskets. I believe he has 8 buzzer beaters in his NBA career. And then we go to this, one of the more anticipated series because it was the matchup of the 2 MVP candidates. But after watching the game, it really looked like not necessarily a matchup of the 2 MVP candidates, but a matchup of all the people around them that was dominated by the Rockets. What did you see in that game?
I'm so glad that they give away a regular season MVP. I think Russell Westbrook is going to win that award.
He will.
But in the second season, that's why they give away a finals MVP, because of what you just said. And it truly showed to those that weren't closely watching how much of a load when somebody averages a triple-double for the first time in 55 years, they actually have to carry. And so for Russell Westbrook, he's going to have his signature moments. He's going to have his big-time games. They're going to win 1 or 2 games in this series. But I agree with you. The Houston Rockets just have so many weapons that they can surround James Harden with, that can knock down shots, that can finish over the top at the hoop. Whether it's Patrick Beverley locking down on defense, Trevor Ariza as well, the shooting of Anderson, Lou Williams, Eric Gordon, over the top to Capella. There are just so many things that they're able to throw at the Oklahoma City Thunder, who aren't a team that consistently make shots from three-point range, which thus is going to always put them in a position to where if the Rockets are able to get stops because they're not a defensive-oriented team, clearly, this could be a 5-game series.
True or false? Patrick Beverley is the best player in the NBA.
LeBron James.
But Patrick looked like the best player in the NBA.
Kawhi Leonard.
How about this?
Kevin Durant.
If you are the Houston Rockets, do you not have a player on your team like Nene screen Patrick Beverley and almost concuss him in hopes that it will reinvigorate this offensive Patrick Beverley that we saw in Game 1?
The thing I like about Patrick Beverley, and I always talk about like why you're in the league, he was initially a will player that was there to lock down on defense, hustle after loose balls, and give you all of the intangibles that did not score, that did not show up in the box sheet. And he improved his three-point shot. He improved his playmaking. Now he's a guy that can play those quality minutes because he can do those things and you don't have to take him out of the game, and you clearly don't lose what he brings on the defensive end. And he's the guy they're going to use as the irritant for Russell Westbrook. Did a really good job in Game 1.
Cantor tried to stop James Harden coming down the lane, and it ended up being a lob right over his head pretty easily from Harden. The camera cuts to Billy Donovan on the bench, and he says to Nate McMillan, "Can't play Cantor pretty clearly. What does he say to Cantor at practice the next day?
He shows him the exact play that you just mentioned, and he says, if you continue to play defense like this, I can't play you. Everybody's making too much of the fact that a coach said to an assistant coach he can't play a player. Do you realize that's what he is going to tell the player as well? That's how this works. Each player has strengths and weaknesses, and there are only about 10 players that go into each game knowing, regardless of how they play, they're still going to get the same amount of minutes. Enes Cantor is not in that conversation. He can't. On the offensive end, good hands, good feet, really good finisher, really good rebounder. But on the defensive end, he can't guard a graveyard. That's not a surprise to him to hear the coaches talk about his lack of defense, whether it's Capella or Nene consistently making plays in and around the hoop against his defense.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Jalen, I watched you on NBA Countdown all weekend, so I know you miss Coachella. You know who didn't miss Coachella? Cam Newton.
Oh, Cam.
Coachella's a place where people express themselves in their fashion, and they get a little flowery. Cam Newton got really flowery. Where did this outfit go wrong? The romper? The bracelets? The cigar?
I'll tell you where the outfit went wrong.
Okay. First
and foremost, for anybody that's fortunate enough to go on a vacation, that's how he was dressed. The only thing that was missing was the ocean, however. So that's how I looked at his outfit, first and foremost. So because there wasn't any ocean present, I think the thing that went wrong, number one, the romper.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the cigar.
The cigar
never even lit it. Not a tobacco fan at all.
Never even lit it. And look, you're a professional athlete, and we both know that cigars are highly overrated.
And number three, we need a statute of limitations on the bracelets the guys are wearing.
Too many bracelets. Look, if it takes you more than 20 minutes to put your bracelets on in the morning, you need to reevaluate your priorities and how you spend your time.
How many bracelets do you think a guy should be able to rock?
If you put on a fourth bracelet, then I can't talk to you. 3.5 is the over-under on bracelets. Even the third one, I'm going to give you something like maybe one's got your kid's name on it or whatever. But once you get into the double digits of bracelets, you really have to wonder what you're doing. And also, here's one thing I know about the functionality of these bracelets. At Coachella, a lot of VIP tents, a lot of different areas. How do they recognize that you're allowed to go inside? A bracelet. So he gets to the VIP section. They're like, can I see your bracelet? He has to thumb through 45,000 of these bracelets he tied on in the morning just to get let inside. God, his outfit was terrible.
It definitely was terrible, but I'm glad that we're talking about what he was wearing, not necessarily the fact that he was having a good time in the offseason.
That's fair. Having a good time in the offseason was Odell Beckham Jr. He was also at Coachella, and he was frequently spotted with someone, I won't call it a date, but him and Amber Rose seem to be, they might be a budding power couple. Do you support this power couple?
It seems like Odell got a little checklist he's trying to knock off.
It does. And it's I'm hesitant to even call this a power couple because I think that the power she brings into the couple is the ability to be in power couples.
And that's very nice.
It's kind of like, what do you know nice. Amber Rose from? Oh, yeah, she dated Wiz Khalifa. She dated Kanye West. It's kind of like, all right, well.
But that's the next question I want to ask you as we talked about the bracelets. What level of she's off limits takes place in sports and or he's off limit once you've dated somebody that your mate also knows?
It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And I really think if you reach out, if you're really friends with somebody and there's some sort of communication, you get the blessing. I think you always want your relationship to be blessed, especially if you have not just friends with people in their past, but even mutual friends with people in their past, as is often the case in entertainment. So you've heard it now on Jalen and Jacoby. You need to get that kind of relationship blessed. And we say these things a lot because we care a lot about power couples, and I've got some very sad power couple news, Jalen Rose.
Oh, no.
I know. TMZ is reporting that Carmelo and Lala have separated. Not divorced, no plans to divorce, but They're living separately. They have a 10-year-old son.
No.
And with everything going on in Carmelo's life right now, I can only imagine what a burden this is to bear and what led to this happening. How do you react to this news, Mr. Rose?
I have love for both of them. I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for the best, and I hope that they find a way to reconcile. I'm a fan of both of theirs.
You will always get the latest power couple news on Jalen and Jacoby, but you will also always get the latest statue news. Just this weekend, they unveiled a beautiful edifice in honor of Jackie Robinson. What do you think as the senior statue analyst, not just of ESPN, but of the world?
It's the coldest. It is the coldest. He has the best sports statue in front of any arena. No doubt about it.
Shaquille O'Neal has that title. Shaquille O'Neal has that title. I disagree with you, even though you are the senior statue analyst. Why do you love this statue?
Because his represents a signature moment as well. Shaq's doesn't necessarily represent a signature moment. It's a signature move. Way different.
That's very fair. I want to ask your blessing on something. I want the Dodgers to unveil another statue opening day next year. I want the Vin Scully statue opening day next year. Let's not wait until these people cannot attend the ceremony. You listening to me, Magic? You got Magic in your phone, right? Can you hit Irvin for me? Hit Irvin for me and tell him next season we need a Vin Scully statue.
They'll make it happen. That's a good look.
See, Jalen and I don't have a radio show today, so what we could do is just film 3 segments for the television show and keep it moving. But you know what? We love our podcast listeners.
Yes,
we
indeed.
know who the real Jalen and Jacoby fans are. The real Jalen and Jacoby fans didn't just jump on the bandwagon when they saw us on the television. The real Jalen and Jacoby fans have been with us since we were in the trunk doing this all by ourselves with audio only and then eventually moving to YouTube, which we might go back to shortly. Stay tuned for that.
That would be a good look.
We love our podcast listeners so much that we're holding an event in honor of our podcast listeners this Thursday. What's the date this Thursday, Jalen?
420. The suits, the decision makers, I give you a standing ovation for giving us a live show on that date. You truly know our core audience. And I'm pretty sure most of them started listening to the podcast. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You doing that while you listening to the podcast.
There are still going to be a couple more free ticket giveaways. If you are in the Los Angeles area and you send us what we deem as our favorite tweet or voicemail of the day, our staff will reach out to you and provide you with free tickets to the show. That is this Thursday, 420 in Los Angeles. The first tweet we have today, Jalen Rose, is from AK the producer. He says, who's in more trouble, the Raptors or the Celtics? Raptors.
Who's in more trouble, Raptors or the Celtics?
Raptors.
I'm going to have to say the Raptors.
The Raptors.
Because the best player in the series isn't on their team.
In both cases, to be honest with you.
However, they do have 2 All-Stars. One showed up in Game 1, though he wasn't efficient from the field. DeMar DeRozan, he still got to the free throw line. Kyle Lowry did not show up at all. But Serge Ibaka played really well. That's something that they can feed off of. Valanciunas has to be more dominant.
Yep.
I appreciated what I saw from the Bucks. Greg Monroe and Middleton playing quality minutes. I still think the Raptors find a way to win this series.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Rose?
And I've been calling the Bucks team futuristic since Giannis got drafted.
We're already here in the future.
Now people are coming up to me like, oh, Giannis got game. I'm like, y'all should have been listening to the podcast. That's broken news.
We've been doing this. After this weekend, I'm going to overreact a little bit. After this weekend, if you were the Cavs, wouldn't you rather be in the 2nd seed than the 1st seed? Wouldn't you rather face Pacers and then potentially the Raptors than the Bucks and then potentially the Wizards?
No, I'd rather be at 1-0, which they are. You don't have to overthink it and put too much scientific evidence on it. The bottom line is this. The playoffs have started. They have LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love, the deepest roster, not only in the East, but possibly in the league. They will find a way to advance throughout these playoffs, but it won't be a cakewalk, clearly. like it was last year because their defense just comes and goes. And lately, it's been gone.
This is from JT. He says, are the Jazz the favorites versus the Clippers now that they have home court? No. I'm going to say no.
If the Clippers, if Rudy Gobert wasn't injured, they would be in trouble.
But given the way things are now,
I don't think he's going to come back in this series. They find a way to advance. And I'm going to put this on wax, too. People talking a lot about Blake Griffin not coming back. This would be J.J. Redick's last year with that team. And here's some really simple math for you. It's a salary cap-driven sport. He makes less money than his backups, Jamal Crawford and Austin Rivers. He'll be somewhere else next year.
Let's listen to the first voicemail.
Yo, what up? What's going on? Jalen and Jacoby, man. I love your show. Keep giving the people what they want. I'm a person, and I want some tickets for that 420 event. I mean, I think it's such a boss move that you guys have a live event. You know, I listen to you on my iPhone all the time. I moved to Los Angeles 2 years ago, so I'm in a prime location, and it took me a long time to get this day off. You know how hard it is to get 420 off from your job without them being suspicious? I got it off, guys. What I got to do to get tickets? Hook your boy up. It's your boy Scooby. I'm living in L.A. I'm going to keep calling until you finally answer me. Keep getting them checks, man. Reggie, keep doing your thing in the back. Shout out.
All right, a couple things. Number one, we need to stop giving Reggie shout-outs, okay?
No, we don't.
He's already got a big head. He's still putting the shout-out all over the pod, even though I said I hate it. Oh, Reggie. Second of all, Scooby, let's not call it the 420 event. You know what I mean? Branding is important. We're calling it a live Jalen and Jacoby podcast that happens to be on April 20th. Wink, wink. You know what I mean, Jalen?
Shout out.
I absolutely know what you mean. I'm excited about it. I don't think it's an accident it's happening on that day. Since we've been doing this program for 5 years and all of a sudden we show up with a live show on 420, somebody knows our core audience, and I'm not mad at it at all. Hopefully we get a chance to see you there.
Scooby, come out. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
What up, Joe? This is Luis calling from the Valley. I just wanted to know, this weekend I went to the mall with my girlfriend. I got a whole new outfit for the live show. I was wondering, getting a whole new outfit for the live show, is that a boss move or a soft move? All right, fellas, keep getting them checks.
Boss move.
Getting freshly dipped to death? That's definitely a boss move.
Boss move. Of course. You know what another boss move is? Sending a soft move or boss move coming. Yeah, you know what the boss move is? Going to it.
Correct.
We appreciate it. We won't let you down. Here's the thing. I know y'all get this podcast for free, okay? So I won't try that hard. But if you paid money to come see the show, we will not let you down. We will make sure you get your money's worth.
And I got to put this on wax right now. I'm not about to deal with no Carmelo and Lala slander in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to hear the he lost his only ring jokes.
No.
I don't want to hear no Honey Nut Cheerios jokes.
No.
I love them. I support them. And I'm wishing them the best.
Another thing I don't want to hear is, oh, since he's going to get traded, she wanted to break up because she wants to stay in New York. That's not how marriages work, okay? You know what I mean? Like, that's cute. I understand how you can come up with that narrative with you and your boys at the barbershop, but that's not how marriages work and co-parenting works. Next, we have a tweet from Jacob. He says, Jalen, does James Harden Game 1 performance compared to the crap game Russ had make you regret your MVP vote?
Not at all. It's a regular season award. I think it highlighted the fact that Russell Westbrook clearly has to carry more of a load. But it doesn't diminish what James Harden has done. It's an opportunity for him to have his team advancing in the playoffs, going towards Finals MVP. He has a chance for the real award. We'll see if he gets closer to it.
Let's compare the teams of the Blazers in their Game 1 performance and the Thunder in their Game 1 performance, right? If you think about that and you think about, oh, wait, the Thunder had a better record than the Blazers in the regular season, and they did that basically because of Russell Westbrook and Russell Westbrook alone. He's the MVP. Next is from Lino. Lino or Lino wants to know, if you two were an NBA backcourt, what would your backcourt nickname be and why? First of all, we wouldn't last very long. I'll tell you that much. My knees hurt. I'm slow. I was slow before my knees hurt.
Our name would be, I got to think about that.
Yeah, you can't really put us on the spot like that. Sometimes a lot of these questions, you just get put on the spot. Next thing you know, we say something stupid.
I got to think of that.
The producers thought of one for us. You ready?
Red and meth.
Nope. Oh, I like that. The producers thought of one for us. The Trash Brothers.
Very nice.
Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Very nice.
What was Chris Paul saying after Joe Johnson made that shot?
He wasn't saying anything. I'm going to tell you what he was doing, however, because I did this for 13 years in the league, 3 years in college, 4 years in high school. He threw a temper tantrum.
He did. Oh, yeah. He did.
That's
understandable.
What that was.
You know what? Actually, I know that you can consider yourself a professional lip reader. I've learned under your apprenticeship for quite some time, and he actually has a voice-activated phone. What he was saying was, Alexa, call my agent. I need to get out of here. And his phone was far away, so he had to yell it. That's why he was being so demonstrative. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Jalen and Jacoby. It's Will from the Bronx. Shout out. Sophomore who boss move for Kendrick Lamar. Singing on a rap album.
Hold on, I need to take this one.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts on this as well. Yep.
I need to take
some
this
internet
one.
conspiracies about this. All right, you take it first.
Okay, first off, hip-hop thank you. I love when I wake up on Friday morning, not only did I get a new K-Dot, I got a new Styles and Talib. It got me through the weekend, the beginning of the playoffs. It kicked off Easter weekend tremendously for me. Yep. I will not deal with any Kendrick slander in any way, shape, or form. Anytime, and here's a parallel I want to draw to how you like watching your television. David Jacoby doesn't like to think a lot.
No.
When I'm listening to my music, I like to say, rewind that. And I have to play it 15 times so I actually can learn the lyrics. That's the kind of artist that I like because I'm a huge fan of
what do they call
bars?
Oh, bars. My bad. I forgot.
Bars!
Granola bars, candy bars.
Nope. So like when I'm listening to Royce or Big Sean or J. Cole or Pusha T, Drizzy Drake falls in that category. When I'm listening to those artists, I like to be like, hold on, I need to rewind that. Okay. So I love what he did 110%.
So there's an internet conspiracy about the song that I believe this caller is referencing. The internet conspiracy goes this way. There has been veiled shots thrown between Drake and Kendrick Lamar over the years. Veiled is in italics because they've barely mentioned each other by name. They're just very veiled shots. There is a theory that on that song, as Kendrick goes like, aha, aha, whatever he does, that he is actually dissing Drake. What? Do you believe that internet conspiracy theory? Were you listening?
I do not. Here's what I want to say. Didn't I just mention those guys amongst my favorite because they have bars? If they wanted to diss someone, they don't have to sneak and do it. How about that?
That's a great point. Next, we have a tweet. This is from Mario. I just want a very quick, definitive answer from you. Who would win in a fight between a grilled cheese and a taco?
Grilled cheese.
I'm going taco. What? Next, we have a...
No, because think about it like this.
No, taco.
If the bread is toasted, when it hits the taco, it's going to break, and the condiments are going to fall out of it.
Taco's got beef. Grilled cheese has no beef.
Hey, man, let me tell you something.
Who wins in a beef? A taco with beef or a grilled cheese? A vegetarian grilled cheese?
Hey, man, let me tell you something.
Why are you so passionate about this? Why are you so passionate about this?
Because I'm wearing...
Who's going to win a fight between a grilled cheese and a taco?
Because
I'm arguing me about it.
Yes, because I'm wearing gray, and you brought up grilled cheese, and it reminded me of those boxes that it used to come in from the government. You can't tell me a grilled cheese won't beat a taco and the beef.
I got government cheese in my taco. Shredded government cheese in the taco.
You can put the government cheese on the stove and leave it there for a week and your house won't catch on fire. You can't tell me it won't be the taco.
Thank you very much for the tweet, Mario. Apparently you found one of our passion points. This is from Jalen's Bat. I did know your bat had a Twitter handle. I really miss your bat.
Big shot.
With you. When you stop putting the bat over your shoulder, you're like, oh, I'll break it out for big topics once in a while. You've gone to the bat like 3 times. Starting pitchers in the American League use their bat more than you do.
I told you when I'm going to bring it out again, though.
No, you didn't.
420. Live show.
Return of the bat.
Yes, indeed.
Return of the bat. You'll forget it. I promise you forget it. I promise you forget it. We have to send someone to the store like an hour before the show.
Grab it right now, Red.
Remember I said that.
Grab it right now,
Remember
Harlan.
I said that. Remember
Grab
I said
it right
that.
now, Baron.
The year is 1996. Fab Five guest appearance on the TV show Martin or cameo in the movie Scooby-Doo.
Martin.
All right, yeah. Jalen doesn't. Do you know who Scooby-Doo is? You know who Scooby-Doo is.
Where are you?
Yes. No, what was
Scooby-Doo?
Yeah. Okay.
Where are you?
There you go.
Scooby, Shaggy. Yeah, I know about them, but definitely Martin.
Did you know that the 5 characters in the Scooby-Doo were actually based on the 5 colleges in the Hampshire Valley in Western Massachusetts? Did you know that?
I did not know, but I love the show.
I think I just forgot the name of the valley that I grew up in. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Scooby-Doo.
Hey, what up, Jalen? What up, Jacoby? Real quick thing. I went out to the Seattle area to visit one of my homies I ain't seen in a minute, and we decided to go out to dinner at, like, Buffalo Wild Wings. So the food gets there, you know, and I'm about to kill my mango habanero wings. I look to the left, and my man's get the lemon pepper, but that's not what threw me off. Soft move or boss move? Eating your boneless wings with a fork. Let me know what you think. Appreciate what y'all do.
See, that's the one thing I want to say is soft move and boss moves are best when there's a good case to be made for both sides. And I can see both sides of this, but let's get your reaction first.
Soft move.
Boneless wings with a fork is a soft move?
Soft move.
Oh, no. Let me just go the other way with you for a second. When you eat Eatos, what is your preferred vehicle for eating the Eatos?
That's because I don't want to get cheese on my hands.
Boom, that's exactly what I knew you were going to say. He just doesn't want to get the buffalo sauce on his hands. He doesn't want to get the lemon pepper stickiness on his hands. It's a more clean and civilized way to eat your boneless wings with a fork.
I say this respectfully, and I don't want to feed into any stereotypes.
Oh, don't do it. You're going to go race on me?
I'm pretty sure I've eaten as much chicken and chips as anybody walking this earth. And let me tell you something. When you're eating Cheetos and Doritos, that cheese stay on your hands 48 hours. When you're eating wings, you can go right to the bathroom and wash it off. No comparison. That's a soft move.
I just want to throw it out for everybody. I think there's 2 types of people in the world. There's some people that like the drumstick wings. There's some people that like the flat wings. Well, I'm not going to argue whether or not whichever one is your favorite, because that's your own personal opinion. But let me just tell you this. You know what's a boss move? Just say all drumsticks, all flats. Whenever I go get wings, I just say all flats, and I get exactly what I want. Don't leave it up to them to decide the ratio of drums to flats. Take control of your life.
Such a diva.
Take over that in your life. Don't let them control you. Be in control.
You're such a diva.
It's
one thing to talk about dark meat or white meat or breast versus leg, but flats versus drums?
Jalen, we both contradict ourselves on this pod all the time, but now you're calling me a diva for making modifications to restaurant orders? Are you sure? Are you sure that
let me tell you something.
Making modifications to menu orders at restaurants is a diva move?
Hey, man, let me tell you something. We'll order right off the menu. We want something fresh.
That's what I'm saying. I want flats. Thank you very much. Let's listen to one final voicemail.
What's up, fellas? Spencer's calling down from Portland here. Important question for you guys. Boss move or soft move? Wearing glasses without prescription lenses in it. Like if you just throw the frame on, but there's nothing actually helping you see.
Ooh. Again, it's a good boss move or soft move conundrum that he's presented us.
So first off, a soft move is not having glass in your frames.
No one's ever done that. That's not even up for discussion. That's not even up for discussion.
That's a soft move.
There's
for those.
There's got to be glass. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, it depends on what kind of glasses they are. They Cartiers, boss move. I've done it, and I have great vision.
Yeah, I have great vision, too. That's something that we share in common. Excellent vision. But let me tell you something. Do you know why it's a soft move, Jalen? When you're blessed with a face this handsome, to put anything on it, to try to improve God's work in any way is a soft move. This face is perfection. I don't need to adorn it with accessories. It is already perfect. Soft move.
Shout out.
I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. We always make sure we give the people what they want by recording an exclusive podcast-only content just for you, because we know who the real heads are. We know who the real fans of Jalen and Jacoby are. Not the people that come up and say, oh, I watch your show all the time. The people that come up and say, I listen to the podcast every single day.
Shout out.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News, and subscribing to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast.
Thank you. You're far too kind.